Okay. Recap number 2, and I'm specifically doing this because the first recap was of the Fever and Liberty game 1, and so I'm just gonna recap game 2 before the Fever play again, and I have to recap that. Okay, bear with me. I'm doing my best to get this stuff out fast. It's tough. So anyway, but it's fun to watch the games. So this was May 18th. The Fever played the Liberty. The game, it was vastly different in terms of how the Fever came out, which was great to see. They had really good early offense. They were playing fast and they weren't standing around. If you remember from the first video, I don't know if I edited that out, but one of my takeaways from the first game against the Liberty, the first Fever Liberty game, was that the Fever are not built to slowly walk the ball up the court and run sets. They need to play fast, and they need to have a lot of motion. And I saw that early in the Fever Liberty rematch. So that was really great. Yes, I am checking my notes. So that was great to see. At the 6:40 mark of the first quarter, Caitlin Clark pushed the ball and split the defense, leading to a basket. And that was like, okay, you can tell she's starting to feel more and more comfortable. And that's just cool to see. If this is going to be a player who's a focal point of your team, you want to see her get comfortable, start playing the game more than thinking the game. So that was great. Caitlin Clark did have a couple of turnovers in that first quarter that it's an indication that the game is still overall, she hasn't caught up to the speed of it, but you can tell that she's getting there. Great to see. The Liberty in that first quarter and the overall first half, Sabrina Ionescu was looking confident. I thought sometimes Sabrina can fade into the background a little bit because when you have a player like Stewie on your team, she can do everything. And you have such great chemistry with everybody else, and the team itself is just so good. Sabrina's a big part of that, but sometimes she shrinks a little bit, and it was nice to see her be a little bit more bold with her play. So the Liberty weren't as good defensively. Obviously, the Fever had figured some things out, but the Liberty they're just so much better. They're really, really deep, and you can tell because when the Liberty starts to go into their rotations, like their substitutions, there's not a ton of drop off. Whereas with the Fever, they don't have the depth coming off the bench. So in the second quarter, the Fever, there was a lull in their offense. And so the Liberty started to push that lead a little bit. And it was weird because the game itself, the Liberty were up pretty much the whole time, but at different times it felt closer than the score said it was. And at those moments, it was when the Fever was, when they were moving fast, and here's what's crazy. They weren't even getting fast break points, but they were pushing the ball quickly. So off of makes or misses, they were getting up the floor, and that was allowing them to not necessarily have to run offensive sets. And Rebecca Lobo said that she calls them actions, which is, I think, a little bit different than the offensive set. They're probably interchangeable, but it does look different than just the point guard walking the ball up, calling the play out and everybody. I said it's great. It doesn't look like that. It does look more like actions. And when they're running those actions, they are more effective offensively. So just a couple notes. Obviously, Liberty won the game big. And everybody expected that. I think we all need to realize that the Fever got the number 1 pick for 2 years in a row because they have not been good. But they did improve from 3 wins to 13 last year in Coach Side's first year. So I think everybody should remember that too, instead of calling for her firing. That's weird. She's a good coach. Relax. She'll get it too. You have a dynamic rookie that comes in. Your number 1 scorer from last year starts the season injured. There's a lot to figure out. and they are getting there. They are playing better, and they look like they're becoming more comfortable and becoming more cohesive as a unit. So that's all things that you want to see if you're a Fever fan or if you're just a fan of the women's game. A couple things that I'll point out. These will be my that was interesting. Aaliyah Boston looks off. Now, I'm a big Aaliyah Boston fan, have been since she was at South Carolina. Watched her win Rookie of the Year unanimously last year. Aaliyah Boston can play basketball, but she has not looked comfortable. It could have something to do with the fact that she has really been down there with the trees to start the season. She had to deal with Natasha Howard and Tiara McGowan and oh gosh, what's the other big? I can't even think of her name, but she had them. She had to deal with Stewie. So it's been a lot of fighting. And Jonquel Jones. So it's been a lot for Aaliyah. So maybe, once I think their next game is against the Sparks, that might be a little bit more of an even matchup. The Sparks had some lottery picks as well. They have two in Cameron Brink and Rakia Jackson. So clearly, if you're in the lottery, you have, there's a reason. So there might be just a little bit more of an opportunity to see them compete with a team that's maybe more closer to their level. So my other that's interesting is Rebecca Lobo was calling the game, which I like her as a color commentator. She said, you can always tell when the Fever did not run the action or the play that they were supposed to by Caitlin Clark's shoulders. She slumps. And that's something that I've noticed for the last couple of years watching her, even in college. Like when she's unhappy, when she's unhappy with like whatever her teammates are doing, or that somebody isn't running the play, or that she's not getting a call, she sulks. And I would love to see her sort of overcome that. It's not even a criticism, like athletes do that, but I would love to see her grow in that area and just kind of keep going, because the best opponents will see that as weakness and attempt to exploit it. So I'd like to see her, grow and overcome that. But obviously they are, the one thing I got to mention is the Liberty. I did say that they are deep, but very specifically, Niara Sabally. So that's the third Sabally in the WNBA. She is the real deal. And she is, the Liberty didn't really add players necessarily like of note, but having Niara is going to be significant for them. Yeah, I mean, at one point, the Liberty were like 12 of 18 from three. I don't know anybody's going to be a team that's hitting 12 out of 18 3-point shots. Like, you ran up against a buzzsaw. The Fever had their first three games were like, heavyweight after heavyweight after heavyweight when they're basically in the middleweight division. So hopefully when they get to see the Sparks, it's another middleweight and it'll be cool. So that's my take. This video went long. Ew, I don't like it. But that's that. I'm going to share it. I'm not going to edit it. So this is coming out raw. And I'll be back I'll probably watch something tonight. So I'll be back with something else. But yeah, that's it. And hope you enjoy it. Definitely feel free to comment. Like, tell me what you liked about the take. Tell me what you want to hear more about. I got to get my editing skills up. So I'll add, at some point I'll start adding videos to show you exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this mark in the quarter, this play or whatever. We'll get there, but just give your feedback for sure in the comments, good, bad, or ugly. And I will do my best to incorporate it into future recaps. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.